And of course, the dumb cat jumps down just as the camera goes live. Most camera shy cat in the existence of the internet. Hello, whoever tunes in this video at some point, later, in 2 minutes, whenever. Thank you for watching. And this is just another round of me talking about whatever comes into my head or whatever anyone in the side chat decides to bring up if if I notice. Um, so one thing that's been kicking around in my head in the last couple of weeks is Wizards of the Coast and the wonderful, wonderful ideas they are putting out regarding the open game license and support for older games that they don't give a rat's ass about, and yet somehow feel the need that they need to, kick those publishers and those game systems in the teeth just because they, I don't know, feel like it. Um, and today, earlier today, I saw that they had issued yet another uh, statement, I guess is one way of describing it, another draft of their new open game license, which is now Open Game License 1.2, I guess, rather than 2.0, whatever the heck they were calling it. But it still has the same issues that, well, to me at least, the same huge, huge issue that it had before. And that is that Wizards of the Coast sets themselves up in this license as the moral authority as to what is and isn't acceptable to be published by third party publishers, which is such a crock of something that words fail me in describing it. Um, I mean, these are the same jackasses who decided to slap warning labels on everything that was published by TSR and by Wizards of the Coast prior to what, 2013, something like that. I don't know. But yeah, people who do crap like that, who just blanket declare something racist and sexist and homophobic just because they shouldn't be allowed to set themselves up as the, or you, people shouldn't allow them to set themselves up as the deciders of what is and isn't acceptable. Oh, what, decide what you can do. You shouldn't buy into anything that does that or lets them do that. And ZXL Master will moderate himself. Okay, good for you, as you're posting all kinds of links. Um, but yeah, go subscribe to his channel. Well, first watch me talk and then go subscribe to his channel. Um, let me actually, just for sake of the record and posterity and whatever else, let me read the sentence that I find the most egregious in their in their so-called favor to the community, gaming community. Nothing will impact any content you have published under the OGL 1.0A. Well, I guess that's the second most egregious thing. Uh, oh, you've done a promo. Oh, looks like ZXL Master has done a promo for this little channel too. I didn't realize that, or I'd forgotten, or it's new. I don't know. Well, gosh, I'm gonna have to go check that one out. Thank you. Um, but basically, they're saying that, oh, no, 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 you can, we're not going to crap on the work that you've already got out there, but you can't do anything more to support it. Well, if you put out a game, a role-playing game, sort of core rule book using the open game license 1.0a, and you want to keep using that same system, you have to put out more product for it, or you won't see any additional sales, because you won't be drawing you'll have no more interest in your product. You won't be drawing any more people. So if you've got things out there under the 1.0a, you can't afford to buy into their crap, in my opinion. Personally, I kind of like the fact that they've delayed it a bit, because as I was reviewing, as I said the other night, a decade's worth of bits and pieces with an eye toward recasting things and turning it into a standalone game. Let's see, I am right now at three possible releases, and that's not including the Enchanted Dagger, which right now is sitting there in development hell. It's finished, except I cannot come up with a decent cover for the damn thing. And the Three Graces, which I'm letting sit for a couple of days so I can let the mechanics and the feedback sort of simmer a bit before I go back and look at it again to see what does and doesn't need to get fixed in there before I put out that product. And a couple of more ills need to be pulled for the Three Graces as well. But yeah, there's one, two, three, yeah, at least three different products that I have found as I was going over that I will be producing under 1.0a, just because. And one of those, the working actually, I need a title for it. So if anyone sees this video, want to suggest a title for a product in which I show that I am not a racist, homophobic, sexist bigot. In fact, I want to be recognized as inclusive in my inclusivity and inclusiveness in gaming. So I'm putting out the product that is filled to the brim with inclusivity and rules to make your evil, vile D20 modern game more inclusive with its inclusivity, because that is it's probably the only way that I'll ever be able to curry favor with Wizards of the Coast, and with all of those gamers out there that I think Circa 2015 said that I should just go fuck myself and die somewhere. So yeah, there's that. There's the most inclusive of all inclusive products that have ever been published. I think, when I'm done putting it together. Then there is a superheroes game, which has been in the works for a while, and I finally pulled it together. So yay, thank you, Wizards of the Coast, for all of your crap. It's kind of motivated me to pull some of these things together, and I think I'll be able to get that one out as well before they kill OGL 0.0a. Oh yes, slight side track here. ZXL Master put up on his channel, as you can see in the side chat, a video where someone is reading the portion of the United States copyright law that relates to fair use. That is something that a lot of really, really dumb people who make YouTube videos can't seem to wrap their minds around, or they think fair use applies to them and their pals, but not to their critics. So yeah, if you are one of those people that likes suing folks because you want to silence your critics, go check out his video. You might learn something, especially you self-declared brilliant constitutional scholars out there. So yeah, nice little video. Take a look at it. Okay, back on this sort of topic I've been rambling about. So there is the supers, the D20 superhero game, which I think I mentioned before. Is based around the feats and talents system. Sort of uses it in a somewhat different way, where superpowers, is a feat, and then you get strong in the superpower or the ability by applying the talents to it. And that's also one that a package that I will be working on and revising, so it is separated from the D20 system. And well, and there's one that is going to be a kind of a short little item that right now working title is Game Breakers. It'll just be a collection of kind of meta feats with I think a couple of talents thrown in that are just meta, as in they kind of break the fourth wall, and they get applied in a way where the game mechanics are obvious to the characters and to the world in general. And some of them are horribly overpowered. Oh, look, ZXL Master put up a link to one of the morons. Yeah. So that link right there that ZXL Master put up, I mean, if you're watching this down the road, this will make no sense. But that link right there, go there, watch a few of the videos. I think you'll feel your brain cells dying as you do. But hey, maybe you'll find something there that is entertaining to you. So, yeah, go check out. That channel is run by the most powerful force in the universe. He's a game changer. Just ask him, he'll tell you. And everyone fears him. Yeah, everyone fears him. So, yeah. Thinking about taking that wrench away from you, ZXL. Nah, just kidding. I'm not. So, oh yes, and then finally, as I was playing with the superhero thing and putting together the product in which I'm showcasing my heartfelt inclusion game design, I've found that a nice little set of rules that I came up with, at least I think they're a nice little set of rules, with LL Hundahl kicked in a few ideas too, but it's basically, as I think I've said in another one of these, it's a kind of a callback to the old zero level characters that Jim Ward designed in Greyhawk Adventures, I think is where they showed up. I haven't had that book in a long time, so I don't know. But it's basically you're playing kid characters, and there's a 4-level class that you go through, and basically the initial character generation system for these 0-level characters. Your character is a little weaker than your first level starting D20 modern character, but by the time you've gone through the 4 levels of right now the working name of this class and the product will be Punk Kids, just because I found out that there already is a game out there called Meddling Kids, and the original title under which we developed these rules was a sarcastic reference to the moral outrage to a show called Cuties, which had twerking 11-year-olds in it. I mean, I can see the moral outrage, but not to the degree that it was. It was overblown, and they gave a lot of mileage to a pretty bad movie. Oh, hey Dave, you got sucked into a Merb Cholito video. on the Merb side or the Toledo side. Because if it's on the Merb side, may have to go check it out. If it's on the Toledo side, oh my God, I tried sitting through the thing where he was going to educate us unwashed and ignorant fools using some other guy's video, and I don't know if I even lasted 5 minutes. It was just so sad and so bad. So yeah. But so this Punk Kids rule set, again, standalone D20 product, which I think it's clever. You know, you can play Hardy Boys or Tomorrow People or something like that with it. And then by the time characters are through the four levels of this Punk Kid class, they will essentially be multi-classing into one of the starting D20 modern character classes, because they're like at that point they will be even with or actually when Hundal ran this with a group, you end up with characters actually a little more skilled than your starting D20 modern characters, which of course is only reasonable since you've got four levels under your belt. But as far as hit points and attack bonuses, you are kind of at the foundational level. So it's a nice little system. So if you like the idea of playing through a character's formative years, or if you want to play a game like I said, Hardy Boys or Nancy Drew or Dora the Explorer, I don't know. This rule set will really what was that cartoon that was out? God, 10 years ago now. Kim Possible, Kid Spies, if memory serves. Again, this could be used for that. So it's on the Merb side. Okay, I'll have to go check it out. Your Delicate State. Let's see. I know. Then ZXL Master. I know of one practicing attorney that drinks the snake oil that what's his name sells. Oh yeah, I think I've heard that name before. Yeah. First thing, I'll stay clear of that guy. So yeah, I'm gonna get these D20 items out there before Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro deauthorizes the 1.0A license and therefore makes it untenable to continue to support the game that I like, and that the few dozen people out there that buy my stuff like. And I will have to turn my material into its own game, because I still like designing role-playing games. I will continue designing role-playing games, just with my own system that is very similar to D20 Modern, but won't be D20 Modern. Oh, I guess I need to do that, huh? Yeah. And even if this new edition that Wizards puts out is God's gift to role-playing game design, there's no way in hell, unless I'm being paid extremely well and I end up, owning a piece of the action as well as being paid extremely well, would I ever work for? I mean, they'll never hire me, not again, but I will also I don't see myself ever having anything to do with a company that on a book that was done, was released in 2000, they put this disclaimer on it. We, Wizards, recognize that some of the legacy content available on this website does not reflect the values of the Dungeons and Dragons franchise today. Some older content may reflect ethnic, racial, and gender prejudice that were commonplace in American society at the time, the year 2000. These depictions were wrong then, and they are wrong today. This content, presented as it was originally created, this content is presented as it was originally created because to do so otherwise would be the same as claiming these prejudices never existed. Dungeons and Dragons teaches that diversity is a strength, and we strive to make our D&D products as welcoming and inclusive as possible. This part of our work will never end. Yeah. So inclusive and so diverse that you need to stomp all over support for older game systems. You need to put crap like that on things that were produced, as I said, within the last 20 years, within the last 15 years, they're putting that kind of crap on there. It is just, and these are the people that want to set themselves up as the moral arbiters of what is true and just and acceptable with this new license. You'd have to be an idiot to agree, if you're a third party, to work on that. Yeah. Something awry, you're correct. Lavenroft, wink, wink. Actually, the reason I was trying to go after Dark Shadows as a license when I was at West End Games was because I wanted to continue to do Ravenloft. I couldn't anymore, of course, and Dark Shadows has all the Ravenlofty elements put in a modern, 1970s modern, more or less modern environment. So it was the perfect way to keep it going. Too bad it well, actually, in retrospect, it was a good thing it didn't come to fruition, because I would have done a lot of work and then not had a chance to work on the line because I left West End Games. I was only there 6 months, I think, if that. Yes, Ravenloft. Oh, yeah. Speaking of Ravenloft, that is one of the things that why I'm so pissed about their throwing bigot labels on people. Read Domains of Dread. See if you can pick out the Dark Lord who became a Dark Lord because he was bullied. And he was bullied for his sexual preferences. Oh, and while you're at it, see if you can pick out the Dark Lord who became what she was because the way she was treated, because of her race. This did not present racism or homophobia or anything in a positive light. But I guess to know that, the dummies at Wizards would probably have to actually have read the material. So yeah, anyone that would allow themselves to be made subject to their whims of what is good and proper and what is acceptable, you've got to be an idiot. You just have to be a complete and total idiot. I don't know what's going to be in that orc license that Paizo is doing, but I'm fairly certain whatever it is, it's better than whatever shit show Wizards is creating. Trying to find the exact phrase here where they go on about, oh, we're going to be inclusive. And if you're not inclusive enough, we're going to make you pull your damn product. But yeah, here's this Nothing will impact any content you have published under OGL 1.0a. That will always be licensed under 1.0a. Nothing you have published. Let's see. I can't find that sentence now. Maybe it's not in this letter. Maybe it's in one of the other things I've put out. Whatever. I'm probably raging now. Nobody cares. Because that's the bottom line here. At the end of the day, the people that matter to Wizards of the Coast and to Hasbro, they don't care about this stuff. Because it's only affecting small little pockets of the role-playing game community, the small little pockets that enjoy D20 Modernists, for example. And actually, that's a good point. I should probably look up D20 Modern, just out of curiosity. Because I suddenly, it struck me. All right, D20 Modern Core. Let's see. Is it acceptable, or is it also a vile sewer of sexism and racism and homophobia? Oh, yes, it is. Yes, of course it is. Okay. Well, I guess that explains that. Everything that, predates 2010? So I guess I don't know what the cutoff line was. If someone out there knows what the date was when role-playing game designers became pure-hearted, where all racism and bigotry and sexism was driven from their souls and their work, and they were creating stuff that was inclusive and welcoming. If someone could tell me when that, what that cutoff year was it 2015? Because it was 2015 was the year where I decided that, or realized that what I thought was my tribe had really never been my tribe, because that was the impression I was left with. That tribe being role-playing gamers. So yeah, was it 2015? Was that the year where everybody became pure? All game designers became pure and good, and they were cleansed of the evil, vile darkness and anti-inclusiveness that had so bedeviled them up to that point? Or was it later or sooner? Because clearly 2000, in the year 2000, everybody was still a bunch of hood-wearing Klansmen. I mean, right? I mean, that must be the case. Yeah, I mean, that's got to be. All right, well, now at least I understand. I'm just to all that evil, vile, older game material has to be gotten rid of. Well, insight has been reached. So I guess I can change the topic. If anyone is even still paying attention anymore, and if you've lasted this long into the stream, I salute you. You probably want to hit the like button and maybe even the subscribe button, just because you should do something with your time and your energy. Yeah, so I've been on my angry rant. Suppose I could talk a little bit about the design philosophy of the Punk Kids, or if someone has a better title than Punk Kids, I'll take it. I may even give you credit for it. But like I said, meddling kids had already been taken, so didn't want to. My guess would be that it's no longer trademarked, so I could do it, but why? They're still out there. They're still selling their product, so I don't want to risk it. Let's see. So something arises. He's not sure about RPGs, but for movies, the jump the shark moment seemed to be Ghostbusters 2016, when it became the thing to blame the audience for an awful movie. Actually, that is correct. Yeah, I think actually I think that was the first time where was it? I think you're right. I think that was the first time where it became, if you don't like this movie, you're a horrible sexist. You hate women. Um, I was stuck in a hotel room. Long story, but I was stuck in the hotel room, and and that's when I finally got around to watching Ghostbusters 2016. And I'm sorry, it is just not a very good movie. Um, the suspense is not very suspenseful. The humor is not very humorous. I forget the name of the actress playing the black character, but I'm sorry, she wasn't funny. She was just irritating. Um, the funniest character was actually that taciturn techie. That character amused me. The male character, again, not funny, just irritating. And I really don't know what else to say about that film. It was just not a very good. It was just not a very good film. I have yet to see that other Ghostbusters remake. Actually, sequel. I guess it was more of a sequel than a remake. I don't know if that was any better or not. I'll get around to seeing it someday, but as of right now, I haven't. Um, that actually was something I almost put into um, the yet to be named uh, pinnacle of inclusion product, which is now more important than ever because clearly I need to redeem that old game system. I need to show how inclusive it can be. Um, if it's just done with someone whose heart has been cleansed of the evil vileness that used to fill it. Uh, but yeah, there was some. I uncovered some rules that I'd actually forgotten existed. All I remembered were the ones that we put in in the Ghost Whisperer product, which was called something other than Ghost Whisperer. I forget. D20 Modern, where you basically it was Ghost Whisperer with the serial numbers filed off. Sort of like Secrets of the Witch Kind was Bewitched with the serial numbers filed off, and Secrets of the Immortals was Highlander crossed with Doctor Who with the serial numbers filed off. um, we had a set of Ghostbusters mechanics that never actually made it into a particular product, and I was looking at those and almost going to stick them in the book of inclusivity, and then decided it didn't quite fit. Yeah, ZXL Master, when you hear RPGs, you think of military hardware slash weaponry. That's probably because you're not a dork. Um, or a geek, whatever the inclusionary phrase is to describe people like me. Even if geeks don't uh, let me be around them anymore. Um, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Okay, so when they put out Ghostbusters collection, it was 1, 2, and Afterlife. Oh, when they put out. Oh, so they did. Well, yeah, that's because that Ghostbusters with the uh, sort of the sex change of the characters, that's all it really had. It didn't even really fit with other Ghostbusters things. Hell, the Ghostbusters cartoon fit more with what you saw in the other two Ghostbuster movies than um, the Ghostbusters 2016 film. So yeah, uh, but yeah, so I actually have a little D20 Ghostbusters thing that could be pulled together, but probably not going to bother with that because I've already got too much piled up that I want to try to get done over the next few days because it will sell dozens of copies, dozens, I tell you. But it will also show that I am righteous. The big book of inclusivity will show how righteous I am. Because I believe actually that's like it right now, even before I do the sort of muscle text, or not muscle text, the text to kind of tie it all together. I think just with the compiled game material, yeah, this thing is already clocking in at 10,000 words, and that's even before collect. Like I said, before the material tying it all together has been written. So, well, some of it is, but a lot of it hasn't. So this is going to be a really big product. Um, it's going to have feats that you really must have if you're going to be playing an inclusive game. Um, we'll have the alternative fact feat, conspiracy theorist, culturally appropriate, uh, empathy. Of course, that must be in there. Uh, portable safe space, martyr, protest. Uh, yeah, yeah. So, and of course, there'll be rules for playing various races, and you'll roll your gender and sexuality randomly, because no one chooses their gender and sexuality, so we have to have that. So, sexual preference, same thing. Roll it randomly. I mean, it'll be optional, but if you're truly running an inclusive game that is full blown inclusive in its inclusiveness, those rules won't be random. Those rules will be something that will be used, and they will be. I mean, they won't be optional, and the players will roll them, and I will make that very clear. So wizards will smile upon me. Um, Ghostbusters cartoon or real Ghostbusters cartoon. Maybe this is why I can't hang out with geeks anymore, because I will admit to not knowing the difference between those. Um, which one was the West End Games Ghostbusters International based on? Because I had the sense it was based on the cartoons more than anything. Um, you're a super geek, Brainard, etc. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, maybe you're not a dork. Maybe that's the difference there. Um, but yeah, I'm on, like I think I've said before, I'm probably on all kinds of on and off. I get put on, I get taken off all kinds of NSA and FBI watch lists because of my web searches, and because of what I post about on Facebook, and actually now because of what I talk about on YouTube. Because yeah, talking about RPGs, that can't be good. Oh, actually, dork. That reminds me. As I think I've said, I'm trying to organize this mess of an office, and so and you can actually, if you've been watching these things, you can see the piles getting smaller behind me, right? So I'm making some progress here. If you go back and look at the early videos I started doing, it's not just the stacks being moved around, although a few things that were over here are now over there temporarily, at least. But I found these while I was organizing stuff. Dork from Evan Dorkin. Uh, Gen X humor at its finest, or humor comics at their finest. And this one actually really I pulled out because Myron, the living voodoo doll, was always kind of a favorite Dorkin strip of mine. And a few years back, I actually adapted this guy to the D20 system, and I found that post again while going over all the stuff, and once again found myself thinking, "Gosh, I should probably write an email to to Dorkin and ask, hey, would you mind if I put this in something actually, other than the blog, just to, get it out there in a slightly more permanent way. Although now that Wizards is, well, actually the beauty of Myron, the Living Voodoo Doll, that's very easy to make it not at all D20 system, since it really is just a couple of random tables and a couple of Evan Dorkin cartoons. But yeah, so yeah, flipping through these issues, haven't looked at them in a while. It just Gen X geek humor from cover to cover, and or dork humor, if you will. So yeah, if you ever find yourself in a comic book shop looking at the 25-cent box, look for those old slave labor graphics comics. So there's a company that it's too bad they didn't do a lot better than they did, because at least what I bought from them I liked. Although slave labor was a company that I either thought their stuff was really good or I thought it was really bad. There was really nothing that they did that felt average to me. Maybe I missed the average stuff. Yes, you can almost see the floor. And if I ever get around to vacuuming, you will be able to see the floor. Because yeah, it needs it. But yeah, the next thing that will disappear is probably that file box right there. But mostly because it'll be moved, because it's full of comics that I hope to someday do reviews of. Same thing, these issues of Dork, they're there because there is a whole bag of black and white comics that I've sorted and that I hope to get around to writing a little bit about. And but instead, I go on YouTube and I talk. But yes, one of the things I'm trying to work through is Richard Sala's output. The guy I paid far too little attention to when he was alive. So now I'm trying to every few months put out a review of one of his books. And maybe I'll try to do a few more of those in May. Passed away, I believe, on May 7th, my birthday. But yeah, want to do Richard Sala's stuff. I want to. Oh, look, there's Zoe in the background. One of my camera shy cats. And then Richard Sala. Evan Dorkin also had the Pirate Corps series, which I also enjoyed tremendously, and which I recently got the last piece. I now have every bit of Pirate Corps contact that was content was published, and so now I'm ready to kind of do a series of articles on it, sort of like I did with Gun Fury. Much like these videos where I talk about things that are really obscure for most people, the comics I write about, the movies I write about, are also really obscure for most people. I guess I just can't tap into a popular thing to save my life, except for that one time when I went over Chilito's ban from YouTube. People seem to find that amusing. It's too bad I'm so disgusted with him, or I could do more funny things about Chilito. But this tomorrow and Saturday will be spent mostly on D20 on role-playing game design, um, and trying to come up with a decent cover for Enchanted Dagger. It's proving to be harder than it is. Enchanted Dagger, just FYI, it's a very obscure 19 mid 1940s comic from a very obscure publisher. It was, in fact, it's so obscure that it didn't even get it. 4 installments were published, 4 8-page stories. They never made it to the cover of the anthology they appeared in, which was Yankee Comics. So there's no splash pages to repurpose. Well, none of the splash pages are suitable to be repurposed as covers. And making collages out of the panels is not proving effective. And being very bad at drawing, creating a cover myself is also not feasible. So it's done. It's just missing a cover. And where as I said, the Three Graces is also pretty much done. I just want to let the rules sit for a bit before I look at them for one last time and then upload it. But I think both of those will sit for the next couple of days as I go over these 3 different assembled D20 releases and get them to market before the Lord and Master of all that is good and pure in role-playing games closes the door. But on that, like I said, I'm kind of done out of things to babble about. So unless someone has a question or a comment or something that they want to bring up over in the side chat, I'm probably gonna wrap this one up pretty close to the hour mark. Actually, there's something I'm forgetting. What am I forgetting? Oh, yeah. I don't know that it's 100% finalized yet, but, and this is something kind of useless to talk about on YouTube, I guess, but I'm actually going to be at a event that will have a bunch of authors and game designers at it, with people that actually have profiles, people that those who are into this sort of thing will recognize. For example, Jeff Grubb. Jeff Grubb will be there. Stan will be there. I will be there, mostly as the sort of Ed McMahon to the more famous and more entertaining people. Just trying to see if I can find the date. It's in February. And the reason I'm saying I'm not sure whether it's totally finalized, well, that's because I'm not sure if it's totally finalized. Yeah, Saturday the 25th. So the last Saturday in February in the city of Kent here in Washington State. Let's see, Page Turner Books. It's Page Turner Books. It's on Meeker Avenue in Kent. It's a very nice bookstore, by the way, if you haven't been there. I'll be damned. I can't find it all of a sudden. I found it earlier, and now I can't find it again. And once again, I am using the wrong screen because I need to go over. I need to be able to see myself, or rather see the feed so I know what's going on. And let's go to Facebook and see if that's where I found it. Yep, Page Turner Books. Or maybe not. bookstore, 5 Point five. Yeah, okay, there we go. That is what I was looking for. Yeah, it's the Meeker Street Nerd Party. It'll be happening on Saturday, February 25th, starting at 3 p.m. and going until 7, I believe. And there's going to be, as I mentioned, some pretty well-known folks there. Jeff Grubb, like I said, J.P. Barnett, Will McDermott. Oh, okay. Well, it's official because I'm reading the list of authors. Maria, I'll butcher her last name if I say that. Maria something, Gaia Komatos, something Greek. J.P. Barnett, Tiffany Shern, Laura Senf, Tommy Rice, Jeff Grubb, Will McDermott, Laura Ann Gilman, Steve Miller. I'm hoping that's me and not the other Steve Miller, who writes the science fiction books. That would be embarrassing if we're being confused for one another yet again. But artists are going to be there. Pags, whoever that is. Laurie Collins, Jay Boom. I think I've seen some of his comics. Stan, if you've been hanging around here, you've seen him in the side chat, and hopefully been to his channel. Not, you should. He does some really nice drawing videos. Rihanna Martinson, Essence Comics. It's not, well, yeah. Morgan S. Kilman, don't know who that is. They're going to have a cosplay contest, so put on a fake beard, wear a hat, and go as me. You might win. And then some things I'm not recognizing. But yeah, it is on the 25th. So, and it's from 3 to 7 p.m. I will be there for some of it, maybe all of it. I don't know quite what's going on, but I'll have to find out since I'm now on the schedule officially. Oh, I'm sorry, I still get here. What is the dagger one about? Just wondering what theme or base. Okay, so the Enchanted Dagger, it is sort of early superhero in the sense that it's a guy in a costume. Although, well, let me back up. A guy goes to Africa looking for this treasure his father told him about. He finds a treasure. Turns out to be an enchanted dagger that is really only usable by him because it is attuned to his blood, his genetics, whatever. It was supposed to have gone to his father, but his father died. Now he's there. He picks up the dagger, takes it back to the States. Some racketeers try to get their hands on it, and that then makes him devoted to be a superhero. Only 4 stories were published, and in all 4 of them, whether this was intentional or not, he is fighting, racketeers. He's fighting rackets. He's fighting people trying to blackmail businesses. You know, what a nice little dry cleaner you have here. Sure would be a shame if something were to happen to it. He's up against gangsters in all 4 stories, and except in one, it's more of a corrupt union boss. But the basic idea is the same in all 4 stories. He's kind of fighting for the small businessmen against gangsters and people who would exploit them and ruin their business and take their money. And over the course of the stories, the sort of dagger has various powers that lend themselves somewhat nicely to role-playing games. So the theme is superheroes, but mostly this magic dagger. And what I actually kind of find interesting about this, because just from a publishing point of view or from the point of putting this together, there's 4 stories, right? And he wears basically 4 different costumes. Uh, at least in the last two, they colored the outfit differently. So maybe it was supposed to be the same outfit, but they just colored it differently. So the guy uh, was, I guess, trying on different costumes as he was going through his superhero career. I was reading the stories. I was trying to figure out, because my original concept for these, uh, and I'm probably getting off the topic that Dave asked about, but that's basically it. It's a guy whose power is derived from this magic dagger, and he is protecting the little guy from gangsters, small businessmen from gangsters and racketeers. But because it was all um, he was all fighting this, racketeers. I was looking at this, going, okay, this is all tied in. There's got to be some web of there's got to be a master criminal at the center of the web, and all of these supposed independent gangs and schemes, they're all feeding back to this one guy. And I was looking for a series that would have somebody like that as its villain, because the original idea for using the enchanted dagger is a few years old. Back when we were doing a series called Golden Age Oddballs, which each one of those collected the entire run of an obscure, short-lived character, and actually collected two uh, short-lived characters in every single appearance they had ever made. Generally, it was 4 or 6 stories, and then sort of the secondary character was 1 or 2 stories, depending on how many that existed. And those books would have some role-playing game rules in them, and fiction that either fiction or um, source material, role-playing source material. Yeah, it's like um, so that would sort of tie these two characters together that really had nothing to do with each other, but we linked them together in the writing. But I never could come up with the uh, something that would lend itself to creating additional material that would tie the enchanted dagger in with some criminal mastermind. It might still be out there, um, and if I do, well, I guess I'll do a second edition of the book, and take the enchanted dagger and stick it in a golden age oddballs title, and will be the first one in years. But I'm just wanting to get it out there, get it done, um, before Wizards of the Coast takes their final dump on the OGL. Oh, hey Cody, welcome, welcome. But yeah, Dave, that's basically it. Guy with a magic dagger, stabbing. Actually, doesn't even necessarily stab that many people. They end up stabbing themselves when they try to take his dagger from him, and um, the dagger can be used to harm its rightful ruler. So one bad guy ends up putting it through his own hand when he's attempting to stab our hero. Um, Another one, they hit him on the head, they toss him in an open grave, and one of the bad guys throws the dagger into the grave, and then embeds it in the guy's chest. I think his name is Chalmers. Embeds in Chalmers' chest, and then the next panel, or a few panels later, after they buried him alive, we find out that he's still in the grave. And the dagger is just kind of balanced on its tip right down his chest, and presumably also made it so he could breathe underground, because he digs his way out using the dagger. And I just blanked on who the artist is, because that actually I should have led with, because it's actually a guy the artist went on to be relatively famous in the 70s. So let me look this up, because now it's bugging me. YouTube, let's see. I just want to look this up because it'll bug me. George Tuska. Yeah, George Tuska. He was a solo artist on 3 of the stories, and Charles Sultan was the inker on the very first story. It was pencils by Tuska and inks by um, uh, Charles Sultan. Sultan. And so yeah, it was one of George Tuska's early leading works. And actually, I was wrong. It was 1941 is when Enchanted Dagger first appeared. So I had my dates off a bit, but it was in Yankee Comics. It got reprinted later in some other issues, and that's what I was thinking of. Well, I'm glad you drank coffee and stayed up, Cody. He says, stayed up, or I wouldn't. So I didn't want to miss me this time. Well, at least you tuned in after my rant about the going ons in the game business. Now I'm just musing out loud as to what to do with some products that are in the works. How to make an enchanted dagger in Photoshop. Okay. When I looked up enchanted dagger, a whole bunch of weird sites came up in the Google search. What's this? Oh, okay. Suddenly, it looked like somebody was afraid. I suddenly became afraid that someone else was doing an enchanted dagger book right now. But no, this is something from a while ago, and it looks to be computer game related. So never mind. Okay, ZXL, thank you for popping in. Hopefully, folks will click on those links and go watch those promo videos. I'm gonna have to remember to go. Okay. Well, first I have to go look at that promo on your channel for my channel, see whether I've seen it yet or not. And you fell into a friend, and Cody did, jammed a pencil through your hand. A la Jesus. Okay. Hopefully, unlike Jesus, you went to the doctor and got that patched up. God damn, that's no good. But yeah, good night, ZXL. Thanks again. But yeah, the Enchanted Dagger book will be at Drive-Through Comics and Drive-Through RPGs, like all the other Nulo game stuff. Same thing with the Three Graces, which is not a comic; it's just straight up game material. Oh, it does have some art from some pretty well-known artists. Well, well-known in certain circles, but really obscure. That didn't make any sense, did it? Well known in certain circles, but really obscure. It's a fellow named John Austin, an English artist, did a lot of book illustrations. So it's again just me repurposing public domain art, like I've done hundreds and hundreds of times. Well, unless I start digging into the bag of random comics and pulling stuff out to talk about, I'm out of topics. So just when Cody comes, I'm running out of steam. So unless someone has something to bring up, I'm gonna have to start wrapping this up. Let's see. Oh yeah, milk and cheese. One of the weirder comics. But yeah, Evan Dorkin, highly recommended. Yeah, I hate to wrap this up just as you have a bunch of Cody has a bunch of eerie and creepy reprints. Oh, did they collect those in sort of some of those big books? Oh, actually, they're behind me on that shelf right there. There are some Vampirella reprints. Um, Haslick, yes. Triesta is not the one I was thinking of. But Haslick, yep, congratulations, you found him. You found the one guy, well, one of the guys at least that I was talking about. And I realized today either there's a box I still have yet to find and unpack, or I no longer have any copies of Domains of Dread, which will make me sad because it remains one of the things I worked on that I am still happiest with. Yeah, I've got the third edition Ravenloft stuff, but Domains of Dread is nowhere to be found. Um, yeah, yeah, that's something else that just sticks in my craw. Um, Not that I'm missing Domains of Dread, just I'm being reminded of Servants of Darkness. Again, I would very much love someone to show me in that book uh, what I did that was so vile and foul and racist and sexist. I mean, the villains are religious fanatics